Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. A new study suggests that PTSD is important mental health comorbidity. Phew, that was hard. For veterans with diabetes. Interesting. So I wanted to jump into this, share this with you. Before we do, though, I want to throw on a very special thank you to Jerry Baker 9519. Jerry Baker, thank you so much for the super comment, super chat. I really do appreciate your support very much. Thanks, Jerry. All right, so jumping into this, a new study is out there with regard to PTSD and diabetes. Going to read through it here. I'd love to get your thoughts in the comments as well. Please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I truly appreciate it. Every thumbs up, every minute watched really does help the channel expand its reach, which is really what we're trying to do. So nearly 1 in 4 U.S. adults over the age of 65 have diabetes. Older veterans are highly impacted by this disease, due in part to risk factors incurred during their military service, such as exposure to Agent Orange and PTSD. Diabetes requires active and ongoing daily self-management and increases the risk of developing other chronic health conditions, which negatively impact functioning and disability. So, in that opening statement, remember that if you develop other chronic health conditions because of a service-connected condition, those conditions can be added to your VA disability compensation rating as secondary conditions, thus boosting your VA disability compensation. Of course, it's VA funny math. And look, I hate to segue from the topic, but just so people understand what the funny math is, if you're rated 50, 50, 50, you got 3 50% ratings, just to use easy numbers for myself, that does not equal 150. The way the VA looks at it is they take your highest one first. In this case, they're all the same. 50%. Then they go, okay, you're 50% bad, but guess what? You're still 50% good. So then what they're going to do is they're going to take that 50% good and they're going to look at your next rating, which is 50%. 50% of 50 is 25. They're going to add that 25 to your 50% bad. Now you're 75% bad, but that means you're 25% still good. They're going to grab that other 50, take 50 of the 25, 50% of the 25 good, which is 12.5, add that to your 75. Now you're 87.5. No more conditions. 87.5 rounds up to 88. No more conditions, rounds to 90% for VA compensation payment. So 350s equals 90. This is why it is so important to leverage secondary conditions. If you need assistance, if you can't do it yourself, you can't find free resources, we have started evidence-based VA claims. We can help you one-time fee up front, and we can help you figure out how you need to structure your claim. You can email us at vaclaims@EB, that's Echo Bravo, EBVAclaims.com. The information will be in the description and in the comments. All right, so in a new study published in Health Psychology, researchers have found that veteran men and women with both PTSD and diabetes were at heightened risk of disability and poor physical health functioning compared with other veterans with neither condition or PTSD and diabetes only. So, moving on with regard to this study, which is fairly interesting, it says this is one of the first large-scale studies to investigate the impact of co-occurring PTSD and diabetes on functioning and disability outcomes. Veterans with both PTSD and diabetes are at heightened risk of poor functioning and greater disability, which has consequences for their long-term health, explains lead corresponding author Kelsey Serrier, clinical research psychologist in the VA's National Center for PTSD, Women's Health Sciences Division at VA Boston Healthcare System, and assistant professor of psychiatry at Boston University, blah, blah, blah. Our findings highlight the importance of screening for PTSD in care settings where diabetes is likely to be diagnosed and managed. The study used a multitude of things, So let's see here. The study used, I'm scrolling around, just jumping all over the place, used data collected from 2 large-scale epidemiology cohorts of Vietnam War-era veterans, both men and women. Men were recruited from the Vietnam-era twin registry, and women from an existing roster of all women veterans who served during that era were identified for health of Vietnam-era women's study. Whew, that was a mouthful. Participants in both cohorts completed a survey and separate telephone interviews about their health and experiences in several decades following their military service. Moving on, it states here, according to the research, this study draws attention to the unique challenges faced by veterans who are managing both PTSD and diabetes, and highlights the need for treatment, strategies to mitigate the effects of both conditions on long-term functioning. More broadly, these findings underscore the need for our research and models of care to attend to the relationship between mental health and physical health, as traumatic stress exposure, including PTSD, has long effects and can further complicate the functioning and well-being of veterans managing chronic health conditions such as diabetes, says the senior author, Brian Smith. Oh, an easy name. Thank you. Deputy Director and Research Health Scientist at the National Center for PTSD Women's Health Sciences Division and Associate Professor of Psychiatry at BU. Anyway, so there we go. Whew, that was a lot. Bottom line is that, here's the thing. When you have one condition, oftentimes you're going to have a cascading negative effect on other issues in your body. And I think it's just a great way to talk about secondaries. Secondary conditions, regardless of what it is, are going to be amplified and worse, right? If you have a non-treated or not adequately treated situation. Here's what I would do. If I were, and I've done this myself, so this is what I do. I will Google search my conditions and common secondary conditions, and so I could just kind of be aware of what might go on. And if it's something major, I'm going to tell my doctor, hey, look, doc, I got this, and I just want to make sure that I don't get that. And if I do end up getting that, I'd rather know up front and sooner than later. That's kind of the same thing with presumptives. If you have a time in service that has a presumptive list of conditions, you should absolutely be sharing that with your doctor, especially if it's not a VA doctor. If you have just your standard, private doctor, you should absolutely print out the list of presumptive conditions and say, hey, doc, I just want you to know that when I was in the service, I was in a location that the VA has determined I'm more likely to come down with these things than your standard person because of my exposures in this area. Here's a list of them. I think that you should just know, and we should look out for these types of things because we'd probably rather catch them up front than when they rear their head. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great one. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.